Hello and welcome to Somatic embryogenesis. We will be studying the regeneration of somatic embryos. The regeneration of somatic embryos can vary on the type of explant used and the combination of plant growth regulators. The aim of the experiment is to regenerate brassica plantlets via somatic embryogenesis. The exercise is divided into three important steps. You will prepare Morashic Skoog media and germinate the seeds. Excise the hypocotyle explants and record the somatic embryogenesis. You will be preparing Morashic Skoog medium. Let us look at the important steps involved in the media preparation. Measure all the dry components of your medium. Always record your product information on the media log form. Measure out 80% of the final volume. Add the dry components to the medium and stir until dissolved. Add any liquid stock solution such as growth regulators. Add any gelling agent to the medium. Adjust the pH of the medium. Dispense the medium into culture vessels. Autoclave. Allow the medium to cool up to 2 hours prior to use. For this prac, we will be using petri dishes instead of culture flasks and culture tubes. Sterilize the seeds in 70% volume by volume ethanol for 1 minute and wash in 2% volume by volume sodium hypochlorite for 20 minutes. Seeds are washed 3 times in sterile milky water for 10 minutes. After the seeds are sterilized, remove the bleach using 3 rinses of milky water. This step is very important for not to carry over any bleach traces in the seeds. After this step, inoculate the seeds onto the agar medium to germinate the seeds and obtain the hypocotyle to be used as the explants. You will be using petri dishes instead of culture tubes. Allow the seeds to germinate over a week. This is the end of part 1 of the exercise. We will begin with the part 2 after the hypocotyle have germinated. This will take a week's time. Welcome to the part 2 of somatic embryogenesis. Turn on the laminar flow and wipe it with 70% ethanol before use. Label your plates. Add the plant growth regulator to the molten media. You can also add plant growth regulator to the petri plates. Pour the molten media into the petri plates and swill gently. Allow the media to solidify before use. Over the week's time, the seeds would have germinated and hypocotyl emerged. We would need hypocotyl greater than 1 centimeter. Collect these seeds and place them in the laminar flow. Excise this hypocotyl greater than 1 centimeter and place this hypocotyl in a sterile petri dish. Make a longitudinal cut on the hypocotyl. The cut should be 1 mm. Inoculate this hypocotyl with a longitudinal cut on the solidified medium supplemented with thiodiazurone. Allow the hypocotyl to grow on the medium over a week to induce somatic embryos. Make sure that the whole explant is in contact with the medium. Seal your plates and label them. Incubate your plates over a week's time to help develop somatic embryos. Welcome to the part 3 of somatic embryogenesis. Today you will observe the somatic embryos. For this you would need a microscope. As shown by the black arrow, any primordial growth on the explant is a somatic embryo. Somatic embryos will ideally have 4 stages until they develop into a whole plant. As you can see, Figure A shows the globular stage of somatic embryos. B and C show the heart-shaped stage. D and E show the torpedo stage. And F shows the cotyledonary stage. Observe these structures under the microscope and count them as the number of somatic embryos. In this figure on the left, you can see that they are explants, and on the right there are primordial outgrowths which are somatic embryos. There can be 1 to multiple number of somatic embryos on each explant. Observe them and record in your sheets. Finally, the potential somatic embryos will regenerate into a whole plant. Record your observations below. Count the number of somatic embryos in total. Count the number of explants with somatic embryos. Count the number of somatic embryos per explant in percent. Record the number of somatic embryos per explant and answer the questions. You will be provided with the class data for this prac class to submit your reports. For the successful experiment, always maintain the aseptic conditions. Obtain the hypocotyl greater than 1 centimeter. Ensure that the hypocotyl explant touch the medium when you germinate. Always label and record your observations. Thanks for watching.